Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Twitter space on Web3 marketing. I'm Mariana Kotik, head of marketing at Third Academy, and today we are sharing this space with Carly Gotluski. And you probably know Carly because she's the community manager at Third Academy and also the instructor of this free course on Web3 marketing that we launched this week. And we're super excited about having her to officially launch the course. So, Carly, welcome. And if you want to introduce yourself, and of course, if you want to share a little bit more about the course.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for being here today as we kind of launch the Twitter Spaces for our 6 weeks of Web3 Marketing 101. So as you may have noticed, if you signed up, you'll have received an email welcome. If you didn't, please do let me know, and you can post that in Discord or just tag me via Twitter or however you kind of want to let me know because I'll be able to send you the package materials for the course. But as we go through the 6 weeks, what we're doing is we're providing you with one video lesson per week, one Twitter space per week, and then at the end of the week, a Discord question and answer to make sure that you are kind of fully involved in your own learning, and that we're actually giving you what you need throughout the duration of the course. So it really starts from the beginning with a general overview of like what is Web3 marketing, what's the difference between Web2 and Web3, is there a difference? It takes you through channels and audiences, partnerships, community building, and at the end, we put together a comprehensive marketing plan for a Web3 project.
Yeah, that's great. And what I really like to discuss also is the benefits of taking this course as part of the community, because I know you have experienced how learning in a community can be powerful, and especially a powerful way to accelerate your process and keep you motivated. And so there's a lot of information and there's a lot of videos you can, find around like YouTube and other places about Web3. But the thing is, I would love you to like explain a little bit more about how are the benefits of taking this course and going like lesson by lesson and following this along with the community in our Discord server, and what are the benefits for people for taking this course this way?
Yeah, the benefits with taking a course where you also are able to collaborate with your peers and connect with them is, I think, tenfold. And I guess would depend on what kind of person you are, but I'm a very introverted person by nature. And every time I've taken a course online that also has peer support, either in a Discord or in another format, I've always had a better time. And I think that's because you have people learning along with you that can share with you their own projects and their own way of looking at the course itself. Because, especially in the marketing world, what's really cool about it is usually you're working with a team of people that have their own perspectives, and it's that collaboration that comes together to really make a project work. So that's really nice. And then as well, there's alumni in our Discord that have taken our Web3 marketing course previously and have now gotten a marketing job. And they can speak to the fact that what they learned helped them in order to have real world experience and to obtain their Web3 career, and they can also share what they're doing now. So that's kind of one of the benefits of doing it in a peer group in the Discord as well, is having like that mixture of new students, new people that are wanting to enter the Web3 marketing field, maybe Web2 marketers that are entering, and people that have already taken a previous course and now actually have a career and can speak to that aspect of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Actually, I have experienced the benefits of being able to share thoughts and questions and interesting things that you find around with people. And, it's people with the same passion and probably in the same situation as you are right now, like probably jumping from Web 2 to Web 3, or probably starting in Web 3 as a marketer, or maybe you have a project or you have a plan for the future and you want to understand how is marketing a project in Web3. So I think there are a lot of benefits of taking this. But if you can outline the most important concepts of skill or skills that the participants will learn in this course, what would you say those are?
I would think that really, if you take the course week by week and you're able to, like I said, be an active participant in your own learning and education, and you see it as a whole, like at the end of the 6 weeks, you'll be able to have a very clear overview of what Web3 marketing entails. And after that, you'll be able to dive deeper into each topic. Each week really brings you into a very niche topic that can kind of, you can explore that for even a year on your own and become a very niche marketer in a way, with paid marketing or the channels and audiences and how to set up a target audience or influencer marketing in Web3, in terms of knowing how to put together a project. All of these things will take time. But I think that the biggest opportunity here is to be able to dive into each category or each topic and really get a broad overview of what Web3 marketing actually is. Because I think sometimes when people talk about marketing, they also throw in a lot of other things, right? They could throw in um, like a broad overview of social media management or community management, or they could talk about branding, but actually breaking down what the differences are is really important as well, so that you kind of can be known as a generalist, and then as you continue on in your career you can specialize. So I think that's what we provide with this course is kind of like a broad view of Web3 marketing and the chance to then niche down and specialize if that's where you see yourself going.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting that you mentioned that because there's so many different things that you can focus on while working on Web3. But I think that you need to have like the foundations. You need to learn the basics about Web3 and the basics about marketing in Web3 to like have like a starting point to then jump to the if you want to go for community, or if you want to dedicate to growth, or if you want to dedicate to whatever is your specialty. But it's very important to have all the basics and to understand the space you're working on. So I think in this first lesson, for example, that it's already available on our YouTube channel, and you can, if you haven't already, go and check that out because it's a great lesson to start talking about Web3. And I think this is like an overview of the space of what Web3 is and how the projects work and everything. But what else can you tell us about this first lesson and about the rest of the course, and what's coming next? And especially, I would love to know, as a marketer, how do you see this Web3 marketing evolving during the next few years, and how does this course prepare participants for those changes that are coming in the future?
Yeah, I can. I'd love to hear your take on it as well. For everybody listening, Mariana is the marketing at Third Academy, so a lot of insight there. But in terms of like the initial lesson that we have this week, it's Introduction to Web3 Marketing. So we kind of talk about what's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. When I think about Web 2, I think about very kind of almost like a, if we think about it like a 2D interaction almost. We have our social media sites like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and those are great for kind of like socializing in a flat surface world, unless you're going live or something like that. But it still feels kind of flat. And when I think about Web 3, we think about the innovation or the next wave of technology coming in, like Internet of Things, blockchain, and artificial intelligence coming together in order to really change what we do and how we interact online and in these spaces. Of course, when we talk about the metaverse and how we actually use these technologies to participate in communities and projects. uh, especially with either token gated communities, or if you kind of get an NFT and that brings you into another aspect of a community. There's so much things that you can do, right? So Web3 marketing is very exciting because it brings that technology piece together, and it brings like I would say almost the brand. If you think about brand as a feeling or a gut feeling about a product, service, or company, what do people think about when they think about Web3? They think about ownership over what they're doing online, ownership over their own data, and being able to participate in projects and in communities and groups, and actually feel like they're participating and getting something out of that participation, instead of kind of being used as generally I think people kind of feel when we're talking about maybe Web2 social media sites or something like that. So Web3 marketing is kind of knowing the technology, and then kind of like we saw with um, Portia, it's kind of like developing a story, uh, a marketing outline, a marketing strategy that aligns with the culture or the brand of Web3, so that people actually feel like you care about everything that has come before. We saw a lot of Web2, maybe brands or businesses, try to enter into what we call maybe like the culture of Web3, and they just didn't do it to their best ability, I feel like. And so that's kind of like the difference for me between Web2 and Web3. You actually have to think about your customers in a different way, the way that people are going to be interacting in your community, in your project, or using your product, and actually go above and beyond and care. I would maybe even like relate it to early Apple. Like Apple products, they really cared about the user experience. They took it to a whole other level, and it really set them apart from everything else that was happening in terms of like personal computing at the time, and of course mobile phones. So that is kind of like the old school way, or the way that I would think about it now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I mean, if I have to think about the main differences between Web2 marketing and Web3, I must say is the mindset of how do you build this bond, this relationship with your customer, user, or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, you need to start like building something meaningful. I mean, there's this, I mean, as a project, there's this values of Web3 that you kind of need to be aligned with. Otherwise, it's gonna fail. I mean, you're gonna fail as a brand if you don't align on this values like transparency or all the Web3 values that we keep in mind all the time, like access, participation, collaboration, building with the community. And so I think that there's a lot of transferable skills from Web2 to Web3. So it's not like everything is different, but you really need to have this change of mindset if you want to start working on Web3, because it's going to be different. So there's a lot of things that are going to be different, and especially the community side of this. Of the marketing in this in this space. So I know you're a community builder, so I would love to, I mean, if you can explain a little bit more why communities are so important and how Web3 communities are different from other communities you might find around. And so if you want to like elaborate a little bit more on that, I would love to hear your take on this.
Yeah, I think community is wildly important for all aspects of, let's say, a business, or even just a project, or even a personal project. If you were a creator, creating maybe like content on YouTube and having that community aspect. One of the best books I've ever read on community is by David Spinks, and it's called The um, Business of Community, I believe. I'll share the book. I'll share the picture of the book and everything in Discord after. But it really changed my mind on like how community does affect business, and you can see it maybe with more support businesses. You have a community where your customers or your like members are looking for support, and you can actually facilitate those one-on-one relationships with each other. uh, you have a tighter connection with those relationships, but those people also have a tighter relationship with the brand, or like a better feeling about the brand or the project that you have. And of course, by building a community, you also have wild insights. Like if you're thinking about this from a Web3 marketing perspective, just having a community gives you amazing perspective into what your customers are needing from you, wanting from you, how they feel about the project that you're building. And if we go back in time and we think, if Nike had built a community and allowed that community to almost co-create their shoes or something like that with them from the very beginning, and kind of documented their process, it would have been amazing. And so I think community allows you to do that, allows you to your members to actually co-create with you, and again, um, kind of allows for that almost feeling of ownership as well. And they also give so much feedback onto um, where they think that the project should be going, and that's crucial. There's so many, I would say, projects or businesses that have failed in the past, and I think it's really because they didn't take into account actual customer feedback, and maybe they had really slow feedback loops, whereas a community allows you to have really fast feedback loops as to what's working and what's not working. And I think it also helps the longevity of a project at the same time, because people matter and you're putting the people first as opposed to thinking of them as an afterthought. So that's kind of what I really love about Web3. One of the first communities that I ever joined was actually one of the first DAOs that was created. They were created where they actually had the founder role removed. They had to go to a lawyer. It was a really long process, but they kind of like allowed it to be a real true DAO where the hierarchy structure wasn't vertical, it was horizontal. And everybody that participated in that community was a creative, and the feeling in that community was just amazing, and it's still here today. It started 4 years ago in the blockchain space, and so it's just really amazing to see communities grow and thrive and bring that aspect into what we call Web3 marketing.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And also, I I think you can see the health of a project when you see the community and how the community is like kind of participating, and how they treat each other, and how they are building this relationships in the server, or whatever platform you're using. But usually it's a Discord server. So when you see how people talk to each other, how people help each other, you can see the quality of the relationships you have inside the community. And also, I think one of the biggest mistakes projects made is when they not pay attention to what people actually want, and they don't listen to the community. That's like a big fail, and that never works. So I think it's one of the things you need to keep in mind. And as a marketer, or if you are working on marketing or in community, or as a social media manager, or you need to like focus on this, like listen to the community and try to understand what's going on there, what are their interests, and like making part of the project. Otherwise, it's not going to be. I mean, it's not going to have a future, or at least a good future. But yeah, I totally understand. And also, what I think it's very particular about Web3 is there's not only communities that work great, like inside the community, but also there's a lot of uh, partnerships that really work well between communities, and also partnerships with influencers. This is something you already cover on this course. So what can you say about the importance of partnerships and collaborations between communities in Web3?
Yeah, I think the partnerships is week 4. So, everybody here taking the course, look forward to that if you're interested in partnerships. Partnerships is really cool and an exciting kind of field if you're kind of getting into marketing or looking to kind of maybe almost niche down into that area. I think partnerships are amazing, and there's many different ways to kind of do them. In the course, we cover ways to like reach out to people through DMs or email. The best way to do that, but honestly, from personal experience, the best way that I found is just be very um, personable and social via social media or any way that you're looking to connect. I've had some of the best partnership experiences or opportunities come about just by being interested in Web3 and talking about it with people. Um, and one of the past partnerships that we had that I was really excited about and I loved for Third Academy last year was with Lens. And we were able to like connect with Nadir, who does DevRel at Lens, and kind of give people Lens handles. And that was exciting to me because Lens is very innovative in this space, and being able to be on the frontier or like the front edge of what's being developed and connect with these businesses and be able to like bring something new to the community that you've built while also providing something of value to their community. I mean, that's a win-win. It's a win-win for community members, it's a win for the business, and it's a win for marketing, um, especially if you maybe think outside the box and you do um, different kinds of partnerships where you um, not only just share each other's logos or share each other's like posts on social media or something, or you add your logos to your websites. Like, yeah, that's cool, but is that really doing partnerships or is that really doing marketing? Thinking beyond that to like, how can we create collaborative experiences for both of our communities, or how can we make this more of a long-term partnership and collaboration so that we can grow with each other in such a new space. So again, like every week of the marketing course is designed to bring you into an aspect of Web3 marketing. And by us having our weekly Twitter spaces or at the end of the week, our weekly Discord chats, hopefully dive deeper into each topic because there's so much to cover within each topic. But I'd love to hear your take on partnerships as well because I know that they are very important, and it's almost like just you're just making friends and building value for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I think building value for each other and building something together that makes sense for both communities, that's like the key for partnerships because that's another like big thing in Web3. Like, how can you add value to your community members or to your audiences or customers, because if you're not giving them something valuable, they won't stay and they won't be part of that for much time. So actually, and I think there, of course, there's different types of value that you can add, but sometimes is like, I don't know, could be tokens or could be something related to money, but most of the times the value comes from like these meaningful relationships that you build, or educational content, or helping people to do things or learn things. So there's so many ways you can add value to your community, and you can add value to a project that you really need to think out of the box and try to understand what's the best way to, and what your audiences might be needing there at a certain point, and trying to understand what can you really from your project and from your community, what can you offer them. And in this case, I think it's great to think, okay, if we have this other community that can partner with us, and we can add some more value to our community, and at the same way we can add value to their community doing something together, that's great, that's awesome. And I think you need to keep like thinking of new strategies all the time. That's another thing, because in Web 2, sometimes you think, okay, this is working, I'm going to keep with this strategy as long as it works. And but the thing is, in Web3, everything is more dynamic. That's, I mean, my experience, everything is more dynamic. So you need to keep like shifting things. I mean, probably you need to like be very flexible and try to adapt as the market goes. Because, for example, when I started on this, we were in the middle of a very bull market, and it was everything was pretty and beautiful and growing, and there was a lot of hype for so many projects at that point. But then with this long bear market we're having now, a lot of things changed. The motivation of the people changed, and you need to be, as a marketer, you need to be prepared for this shifting. This shifting context, so because it's going to happen, because next, hopefully soon, we will have another bull market, and you need to be prepared for that. And the strategies during the bull market are not the same that during the bear market. So you need to be prepared, and you need to be sure that what are going to be your next steps. And also, there's a lot of trying and failing because you need to test things, and some things will work, and some things will fail, and some things that are going to be very successful for certain projects are not going to work at all in other projects. So you really need to keep learning, and that's why I think this 6 lessons that we're presenting here on our YouTube channel are like starting point at the basics. But the thing is, and you can add so much value to this if you also like join the community, join the Discord, and be active on Discord, like share your thoughts and ask questions. And also, if you leverage all the content we also share on our Discord server, because there's so much information that we share daily and weekly, and this will add a lot of value to your learning process. Because when you work on Web3, you are learning every day. I spend hours every day, like reading things about Web3, about crypto and everything, because you never stop learning, and there's new things every day. So it's not like you take this course or as many courses you won't take. I mean, you can take 10 courses, and even then, you're not going to be ready to know everything, because nobody knows everything. So this learning process is so much better when you have a group of people like learning with you. I know there's some people that already took the course, and something I want to like add to this is this used to be a paid course. I took it like a year ago. I was like cohort 2, I guess, of this course, and now it's free. So it's really an awesome opportunity. It's so great that we have all this, information and all this content for free now. And I hope you can all take advantage of this. And also regarding to the course, I want to mention that we will have this weekly Twitter spaces, and we will have very interesting guest speakers, because we're inviting experts on marketing to like share their experience, their thoughts, examples, like use cases that can be really interesting for us to understand a little bit more about the what's going on in Web3. But also, we will have this weekly call on Discord that will be like for um, kind of not only answer questions, but also try to dive deeper in the topics. So if you want to like explain a little bit more, Carly, how is that going, and how the rest of the course is going to go, that would be great.
Yeah. So the Discord Q&As on Fridays are gonna be a chance to, like, after you've gone through all of the material for the week, you watched the video, you've looked at the extra material, which is in the curriculum that you should have received in the welcome email. Again, if you didn't receive that, please do let me know either on Discord or tag me here on Twitter, um, because you have your video, your extra material, and then at the end of the week we have Discord Q&A where we kind of come together and we make sure that the information of the week has been kind of digested, and that we can talk about real world case studies and examples of how this is being put into use, and dive deeper into that. So it's um, kind of like a deeper dive, and I love that we also have our Twitter Spaces because it gives you the chance to explore that topic again in a deeper way with experts who are actively kind of in that niche area of Web3 marketing. And something that Mariana touched on, which I wanted to touch on as well, is a really interesting aspect of being in Web3, and depending on which area of Web3 maybe you're working in, right? If you're on a specifically, crypto project, or you're in education, right? You might be doing um, earn to learn or something like that, or you are in gaming, or there's many different areas of Web3. You could be in a community based project, kind of like BFF or something. The bear market and bull markets are interesting, and I think that there's, like Mariana touched on, there's ebbs and flows. And then there's going to be like this constant part of the marketing aspect, which is like throughout the entirety, or the lifetime of the project or business or company, which is hopefully a very long time. How are we making people feel about this project, product, or service, and what's their gut feeling about it? And if you're thinking about it long term and creating the brand through what you're doing with marketing, and marketing helps with the brand, um, it should kind of be something that you've corralled and put barriers around, right? Because you can't make people feel a certain way, but you can influence people to feel a certain way. And that's kind of what you want to do, because if people feel like your project is safe, or it's positively benefiting them, they're getting value from it, or that you're giving them exactly what they signed up for. So let's say if it's a creator community, you are talking to creators specifically, or designers, or anything like that. That's going to be like a constant part of it, and the ebbs and flows are going to be something that you're working through. And so I'm hoping that with the general overview of Web3 marketing, that we keep that in mind, because that's something that we can kind of try to have a grasp on, um, if that makes sense. I'm hoping it does, but it's like I want to give some reassurance to the field of marketing and branding here. But yeah, that's what the Discord spaces will be diving deeper into, and we're going to be hosting them on the spaces. So in Discord, we have like the video lounge, or like the audio lounge, where we have like the spaces. And spaces kind of feels like Twitter spaces, and allows more people to be um interactive, I feel like, and everybody can share their screen if they need to. So it'll be more of like a very community based discussion.
Yeah, that's great. And of course, I mean, we have mentioned this before, but in the course we cover a lot of things about channels and audiences, about partnerships, influencers, paid marketing, community growth, marketing strategy, and of course, all the basics about Web3. So it's going to be really interesting to dive into all these topics. But I don't know, Carly, if you have any more comments, like general comments about the course, or something you really want to discuss on about the course. Otherwise, we can like open the mic to questions that our listeners may have, because I would love to hear if you have questions, if you have, I don't know, any ideas or thoughts related to this course.
Yeah, if you do have a question, you can raise your hand and come up and speak. Or if you've taken the Web3 marketing course through Third Academy previously, I'd love to hear your experience. But I guess to close it off, or like round it up, or whatever the saying is, I'd like to say that through my experience, like just kind of exactly what Mariana said, Web3 really is a lot of information thrown at you all the time. And so if you can set yourself up for success by adding the course event dates to your Google Calendar, and then even just blocking off your own personal time. Let's say you spend an hour or 2 hours out of your week to dive deeper into the topic. and we'll provide you with some extra material in our Discord and areas that you can look into. That'll be such a big help for you. And one of my favorite stories is from 1800s. Michael Faraday was a scientist, and he's now known as one of the greatest scientists um, of the last like centuries to come out, because what he did was he grew up very poor in poverty, and his father was a blacksmith, and there's really no way that he was ever going to become a scientist, because to become a scientist you had to go to university at that time, and there was just no way that his family was going to be able to pay for it. And so he would wander the streets, and he would like look at different shops, and one day he went into this bookstore and he was asking questions, and then he went in a few more times, and the bookshop owner said, I've never like met a young person who was so inquisitive, and he actually offered him a job at the bookstore and in bookbinding, which at that time was like an apprenticed career. And he said, okay, I'll do it, because it'll be more money than it would be becoming a blacksmith like my dad. And the bookshop owner said, you can read any book you want. You can literally pull any book off the shelf you want and read it. And that's what he started doing. And throughout his process of apprenticeship, he ended up amassing this book, this textbook of everything that had to do with science. And it was the most comprehensive um, textbook or encyclopedia that could have been put together for that time. And he actually mailed it and sent it away to another scientist at that time who was working at a university. And luckily enough, his apprentice at the time had fallen ill, and he needed one. And he hired Michael Faraday. And anyway, through that whole experience, Michael Faraday became a scientist and actually invented a lot of things that we use for electricity today. And so the moral of that story, as it applies to your Web3 education, is really to become an active participant in your own learning. Michael Faraday put an entire book together. What he didn't just read the book. He went out, he attended lectures, he took notes, he talked to other people in the field that he wanted to enter. He was very active. He reached out to people who were already working in those fields, and reached out to that scientist who then gave him that apprenticeship. And so in Web3, it's very, very similar. Even though that was like hundreds of years ago, it's very similar to what you can experience today. And what I've experienced, what Mariana has experienced, is if you're active in your learning, if you're taking these courses, if you're reaching out to people who are already in the Web3 marketing field on Twitter, on LinkedIn, if you're writing about what you're learning, if you're sharing what you're learning with other people, if you're joining Twitter spaces, you can very quickly learn what you need to learn and start applying those skills and showing that you have those skills, and get an entry level Web3 marketing job and move up in the ranks. Just the same way Michael Faraday did. He didn't go to university. He rose up the ranks through being an active participant in his own learning. So I guess that's a kind of a long story, but I wanted to share that with you because that his story is inspiring to me, and that's exactly what can happen to people today with the opportunities that we have here. So I'm so grateful that you're here and taking the course.
Oh, thank you so much for that story. I think it's great. I think it's really inspiring, and I totally agree that we are living in a different world now with this opportunity to be able to learn whatever you need to learn to become the person you want to become. So that's amazing, and thank you for that story because I love it, and also. I think it's a very optimistic way to say because I mean to think about the future because sometimes you almost feel overwhelmed about all the information you can find around. But the thing is, if you focus on learning, on like trying to learn a little bit more every day, you can really, achieve your goals. And I it's so much easier right now because we have so much access to information, and especially if you kind of start building relationships with people that can share information with you, that can like introduce you to new topics and to, I don't know, even like open doors to new jobs. And it's I think it's there's a huge opportunity of doing this and trying to like, but the thing is, again, you need to change your mindset. It's not like you go to college and then you learn everything you need to learn and then you start working and applying all the knowledge. It's different now. Now you need to keep learning, and you need to be responsible of your own learning processes and to keep like improving that every day. So I love your story, and I love that you share it with us.